between Hawaii, Tahiti, and on that coastline of the Polynesian. So heading towards America. So you've got towards America, but in the north, and they went underwater. And so they're no longer on the map. I went, they're not on the map. He said, no, they're underwater.
Are they going to rise back up?
Yes, we're going to help them when we do the temple activation. So
Okay.
when we do the world temple activation, he said, not only the existing temples that are sitting here as ruins, it's the underground temples will also rise with the crystals. And you know how we all saw the temple and how it looked like at St. Christopher's meditation? That's because we have our memories when we go into these places and we see what they're already like. So, it's really fascinating that we're going to be able to start seeing these temples come up. And he said we had on that island pyramids and temples. And he said the pyramids that we had were the ones that you see like in Peru and South America. So those kind of pyramids, not the Egyptian pyramids. And he said that the the temples were completely different to any other temple that you have seen. He said you will recognize them though because they have light codes in them which you are related to. Because each family bloodline from Lemurian times carry those codes on their skin. That is why a lot of people from Polynesia and these other countries like Hawaii, Tahiti, do the tattooing. And it started there with the sticks. He said because they're trying to recreate their bloodline Lemurian light codes. And so what happened, that's why he said the tattoo part was so important because that's your marking, that's your DNA, that's your bloodline. And he said, and what they used to do was, because the way it got the word tattoo was because when the stick hit, it went with a noise like tat, 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 and it became tattoo. And so this is how that became part of that heritage. And he said, in Egyptian time and Roman time, they didn't tattoo, they painted. So that's the difference. They painted and they used coal and, hi, Sherry.
Hi.
Hey, Sherry.
Hi, guys.
But in the Lemurian time, they actually did the tattooing. And he said that's why you see a lot of light workers with tattoos because it's their memory, it's their bloodline, it's where it's come from. So it was tattoo, 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 and then it became tattoo, tattoo, tattoo. And he said it is a form of art. He said it really is. He said it's connecting to the bloodline and the frequency. Every tattoo carries a frequency. And he said that's why these people that get these dark, evil looking ones have bad things happening in their energy field because they're carrying that frequency. You must always put something on your body in a sign or a tattoo of good frequency because then it carries it through the energy field and becomes part of you.
So tattoos are good for us then, if we do it right.
Yeah, you got to do it right. And he said a lot of you in the future will channel your markings. So a lot of you will start channeling your markings. So if you look at his tattoos, so this on his cheek, it's a coral. It's a curly coral, and then out one side, it's got the wind, the air, and along the bottom is the waves, the ocean. It's ocean, wind, and fire is what that family line represented. You can see it there. And then that's ocean, land. And on the face is land, wind, ocean. I'm going to go get a tattoo guy to do it properly for me because he said, you've got to get it right. So, yeah, that's how it came through. And I was really persistent with that because I kept saying to Teresa, I just can't get it, can't get it. He's showing me and my eye was not trained to it. But then I finally got it and he said, yep, you've got it. So that's really important. Also the feather connected to the headwear was connected to the chief's cloak. And the chief's cloak was Lemurian codes. Everything that was carried in that cloak was guarded, protected, and codes of representation of the tribe. So it was a very powerful piece of clothing. And it's interesting because even here in the New Zealand Maoris, when royal families and that come here, they wrap them in a cloak, a special cloak that's been made for them. And it's because it carries a certain privilege frequency type thing. And his cloak was amazing. I'm going to try and draw it, just like I'll get this coloured. But the print
Was it made of feathers?
the printing they did, see, they missed half it. There's no hair or anything. I've got to go back and get it done. So I'm going to get them redone. What was that, Val?
Was his cloak made of feathers?
Yes. Yes.
That's what Teresa said.
Pigeon.
They make
Pigeon feathers. Like turquoise, blue, ocean blue, aqua, and greys. It's really beautiful. And so is the feather in his head. And the one feather represents the chief, number one. So, really interesting stuff coming through with the Lemurian history and how it all affects us today. And small feather told me too, because remember in the Indians, small is the opposite to what we know. So instead of small is big. And so, small feather's big. He's really big, but he was called small feather and with the one feather. So he was number one tracker. So that makes sense too, with him just having one slimline feather. So it's all coming together, the languages, the signs, the codes, the tattooing. See, the Indians wore the war paint. They hadn't got to this extreme tattooing stage. And so this is why it's really important about as we go into New Earth and the way that we tattoo ourselves, because it will be a part of our lineage that we do. And at the moment, it's been taken over by the deep state and cabal, and they're doing all dark things with people's skin and stuff like that. But as we move on, and he said, if we want them, we are totally protected by them because we're putting them into our DNA codes again. And he said that they are fully 100% protected. He said there's no heavy metals when you get them or anything because you're meant to, when you go, you have a reason to have them. You have them for a purpose. And so therefore we're on a different level of protection. That's why he said it's really important if you're going to get your marking, you're protected. He said he's going to channel, so he's going to channel today with me. And he also said that, Teresa, after this meditation, you'll start channeling them out loud.
Cool beans.
And you will be able to give messages from him like I do from Small Feather or whatever. So this is the start of us going into our channeling, this new timeline, this truth timeline. You'll be able to do Mary Magdalene, I'm told, Sherry, down the line, because you'll order the blue rose. It's all coming. You'll do Archangel Michael and all that angel. So these are coming through in this timeline. And this is what it's all about, is using our voice now and our song for people to hear us and understand the messages they receive. So one day you might just be talking to somebody and they might say to you, can you help me with something? And all of a sudden you're channeling. It might be Archangel Michael, it might be Mary, whatever. And that's how we're going to do just general service or have messages giving to people. So it's really important that we keep this healthy, keep our voices healthy. And he said, look after your throats. He said, because after this sickness has been, I was talking to them about it this morning, Sherry, how it's our grief and our trauma from the last 4 years. And he said, once you get through this and it all clears, look after your throat area. Make sure you protect it at all times, because this is your frequency that people will first hear, is your voice. You know how children hear you in the supermarket and they look at you? The adults will start doing that too. They'll pick up on your frequency and your song. So it's kind of cool stuff that's coming through. I was surprised about the temples actually and the pyramids, because when he was telling me about the pyramids, he said they look like rice paddy fields. I said, well, can you describe them? And he said, well, they're like the ones in Peru. They have the ledges on them. So they look like, a set of blocks, but it's a pyramid. I said, okay. He said, we actually did grow plants on some of them. Some of them had tropical plants, that kind of thing. To tell Val, a very important message came through for you, Val. He said, thank you so much for the beautiful grid. He said you worked hard on it. And all the Lemurian chiefs are sending you their appreciation.
Wow.
He said, can you please keep it up for a few days?
Yes, I will.
So he said you used to work in Lemurian time teaching grids. So that's
told
really...
Angel there was a new way I did it today. I actually asked him if I had a feeling about a crystal. I asked him if he wanted it on the grid, and then I took my pendulum and used that. And that's the way he told me whether he wanted it.
He said, this is the new energy field you're going into, the teaching field. Whether it just be like showing us, your grids, putting them out there. He said, start taking photos of them and putting them on social media so people start asking you questions, because this is the frequency you're putting out there to the world. We need more of it.
Okay.
A lot of people aren't putting their grids out there and showing people. They keep them personal and private to themselves. But if you put it out to the universe, he said, you're spreading the frequency.
Okay.
What else did I ask him? A couple of other things. I asked him about me. I said, so how are Teresa and I connected? Because we're cousins, Lemurian cousins. And he said, you are my sister's child. So there you go. His sister was just the sister, the woman with the village who did the cooking and the raising of children and that. And he said you were one of her many children. She had lots of children. So obviously I had a little siblings again back then. I said, really? Not an only child? So I want to be an only child. Oh, Lordy. So I must have had a whole lot of them then. And he said, yeah, you were one of them. And he said, you were very close to me because you and Teresa were the same age at the time. So you were always with us. So I was sort of like raised in two households or two packs. And I said, oh, that makes me cry. He said, that's why I've been able to connect with you. He said, had I not have known anyone else that was doing this work for this time, I wouldn't have been able to connect. So you have brought all the messages through for everyone to start connecting in the Lemurian frequency. He said, that's what your role is. All right. Okay, cool. So I said to him, what's our role moving forward for Lemuria? And he said, you have to push this frequency now for New Earth. He said, it's up to you. That's why the grid is so important, Val, because that lays the foundation for the new frequency in this truth timeline. He said, once you get that energy and that frequency out there, you'll carry it within you now. And he said, and this is going to help create it and help the land change and the structures and everything. He said, these codes will walk with you. So we've got so many new codes in us now that we're integrating. The youth one that St. Christopher gave us, the Egyptian ones, and the Lemurian ones. And he said, and what's happening is with all these codes coming into the light workers at the moment, they're exhausted. We're exhausted, we're tired, we're just wanting, like Angel said, we want to be by ourselves, we want to go within, we just want to work alone, that kind of thing. He said, because you're integrating. He said, it takes a lot to integrate. You are light beings. It's like, when you get an electric shock, it takes you a long time to recover from that. He said, well, what you're doing is integrating like a huge big electric force coming into your light bodies and having to work with it and then know how to control it and dispel it out to wherever you go. So we're going through some really major changes with this new truth timeline, which the Palladians warned us. And so with these new codes, we have to work on the Ring of Fire, the new earth shape. And that's why we had to see him first, go and speak with him.
When I went into Bunnings, there was this woman there. She would have been about my age, and she had all these beautiful tattoos on her hands, and it just about made me cry. They were so gorgeous, and they were Samoan ones, but I never seen them like that. No, pretty, really pretty ones on one hand.
What hand, he asked?
The right hand.
Ah, he said that's very important. He said the right hand is your bloodline.
Ah, they were
Yeah.
beautiful.
Yeah. He said right hand is your bloodline. So that's your father's side. Masculine side. Feminine is the left. Your mother's side. So it would have been her Lemurian codes. She must have channeled them or something or had them designed.
Had them done in Samoa. Done with the tapping.
Yeah. He was doing it last night while I was trying to get to sleep. I had the most shocking night's sleep last night. All I could hear was He did, but his little spear thing. Well, that's interesting. So, oh God, I wish you'd taken a photo. He said, yes, he said that's what happens. He said a lot of these married women that have them on their right hand is their genetic memory coming through. Now,
I find my bloodline.
today.
Okay.
Are we all going
One
to
of the
find our
things we're going
bloodlines?
to get. So today, if you've been in the Lemurian frequency, you'll get it today. It'll come to you. So we've all come from big tribes.
Yeah. So would we get that from both parents, Amelia?
Mostly the father's side, because that's the bloodline, the masculine side. Because they were usually the hunters, the chiefs, and whatever role they had that identified your markings as well. So it was all included. Like he's got his role as chief was in charge of the wind and the oceans and the land. And so he was controlling the tribe's protection. And that's why it came up in the tattoo that way on his, and it had to be worn. Back then it was worn on the face, and that's why you see a lot of the married women today that are waking up, the new star seeds are getting their chins done because that's what they used to do, and it was a no, you've got to perform, you've got to go into corporate world, you've got to look good, you can't look like that. Now they're all getting it done over here. So many of them got their chins done. That is part of that recognition of who they were, where they came from. And a lot of them, even in the media, have them in front of you on TV now. See, he had his on his chin and his cheeks. He said, get my chin, and it was 3. He said the master number 3. So it's very important to make sure when you go and get these markings too, he said, make sure that it's all aligned to the true meaning, because he said if it's not, it'll affect your frequency. Because I asked him about my feather tattoo I had done a couple of years ago. He said, yes, it's connected to small feather. That's why you got it done. He said, it's perfect. That's exactly what I'm talking about. There's certain things that are connected to that line or your history, your soul history. It's these ones that go out and get bloody, what is it, the all-seeing eye on their chests and demons, and that's where it doesn't work. So let's get ready and channel him. He's got a message for you today. I'm really excited about this one, as you can tell, because he's really amazing. And he's different from anyone else that we've worked with. And he's come through the connection that we all have. So it's important for us to do this today. So if you can put your hands on your heart and picture the beautiful drawing of him and understand his frequency. He's very matter of fact. There's no mucking around with him, as you know, Val, with the grid. There's no mucking around. You've got to do it as he says. It comes how he says it, because that's exactly how they were. That's how they communicated. There was no hate. There was no perfection. It was just, when they speak, it's a frequency of love, but for your own good, if that makes sense. So 3 deep breaths in. You're standing on top of a hill, or is it a pyramid? It's a mini pyramid. Okay.
It's pyramid.
He's got a spear with him. The spear has a green stone on top of it. It's beautiful. And he's got, it's interesting. He says it's jasper. So there you go, Val. The jasper is wrapped around, entwined around the spear. So it's red and green. He says the spear is my signature. Okay, so the spear is his signature. You say that the feather is my signature. It is to the village. The spear is my signature to all. It represents and carries a frequency. If you're ever in danger or need help or support, hold my spear. Envision that spear in your hands. You can share that frequency for your self-protection. In Lemurian time, we never harmed anyone. We didn't kill. There was no killing. There was no war. It was a peaceful time. It was a time of high love and frequency and getting on with life and knowing what had to be done for all concerned. The times that we were here, we all knew each other in some way or another. We were connected to many different tribes and villages. And many of us are connected today in the new earth frequency. As we get to know each other, there will be more that you will know and meet and recognize. You see, from Lemurian time, you are connected through DNA. You're not connected through just knowing each other. We come from long, big families. And then your souls are connected. We know your souls through that DNA, through that family line. You see, your mother was a powerful portal to this planet. She birthed you. And we, the chiefs, the hunters, the protectors, the providers, protected that womb, that portal. So we played a big part in protection. And so we identify the divine feminine, and we support, love and protect you always. And that is why in this new frequency you're about to experience, the divine masculine needs to come back into balance. They have forgotten. They have forgotten who they are and what their role is. you have awoken to what your role is and who you are. And so today you find out a little bit more to fit the pieces, as if you were a little stone in the ground and all the little stones around you are connecting back into one big rock, and that becomes you and all that you are. To this team of light, I thank you for welcoming me in and allowing me to find the inner peace of this circle, because you all have shining, glowing hearts that I see from afar. You are all very high dimensional beings from many lifetimes together and from separate lifetimes where you had to learn different lessons to bring back for this time for each and every one of you to understand. So you see, you have important roles within this group of people that are coming back to create something new. To my dear daughter, my beautiful dear daughter, you are the love of my life. You have always been the love of my life. Your mother and I were so extremely proud of you, and we are today. So today we're granting you all that you wish for your retreat, for your service, and for your medicines that you are getting to know again. You had forgotten them, and I'm so proud now that you have been triggered and can help many and heal many. So today, dear one, you will start channeling. You will become the open channel for Lemurian energy frequency. This is a big ask, I know, but it is your service role and you did sign for it. To the others in this group, you all have certain roles to play, and many of you have still got a lot of rescue work to do, creating new spaces, new medicines, and to teach what you know, especially the grids and the frequency and the crystals that are out there. So you see, you have so many important roles coming into this new frequency to be able to make the new earth and bring it all together. The angelic angels are here to help save, rescue, and heal. The medicine people are here to create and heal so that we are all pure and pure light. So you understand why you came back for this time. And I'm so happy and I am so excited to be meeting with you all today and to smoke the peace pipe to put out that new frequency into Lemuria and to create the new earth and reshape it to what it was meant to be all along. And with this, we will raise temples, we will raise crystals and frequency that will fill this earth with beautiful soul frequency that you will be able to hear like a song in the sky. So, dear ones, I look forward to meeting you soon. Thank you for having me in this space. I love you all. You are all beautiful souls from the universe. Chief Hopiteke.